Well, I'm here working on my HF antenna. It's a ladder line fed antenna. 104 foot of ladder line into a 210 foot non-resonant dipole. Goes to a 4-to-1 balun and then to the tuner. Runs from over that way to way over that way. We had a splitter by WA1FL, I think it was, but it didn't hold up to the winter here, so I'm going back to the egg splitter. And some ladder line ripped out and some branches came down. So I'm going to drop this whole thing, patch the ladder line, put a new splitter on, and pull her back up. And I was just checking ropes, and this one obviously has some fray on it, and I thought I was going to have to replace everything, but actually I don't. It's just this one spot where the connect point was, so we'll bypass that and carry on. Everything else seems to be okay. Alright, we got her down. You can see where it split, and you can see it didn't just like pull it apart, it parsed it. Straight up ripped it clear. And looks like the plastic sort of held up, but did snap out. Anyway, we'll be replacing this. I got an insulator egg that I used to use, and I'm just going to wrap around and solder back. You'll see what I mean. But I got to measure how much ladder line I need to replace, because that's a specific length for tuning reasons. 24 feet. Right. We got off of that one. It was WA1FFL, that's what it was. Not a fan of that, by the way. I think that plastic doesn't hold up well to winter cold. I think these are much more better suited to it. So we're wrapped in. Now I'm just going to stretch ladder line and match length and plug it in, and we'll solder it in. And we'll raise her back up and we're good to go. Alright, I pulled the new ladder line up along next to the old one, measured up, got it matched up. I know this looks really crappy and sloppy, but I'm going to come back and solder these, and then I'll trim them clean and try to get them as close to uniform and distance apart. I just wanted a really good both electrical and structural connection on this, because it will be under some wind load. Okay, and here on the other end we got the egg insulator in place. And I didn't do this on the previous installation, but I thought it might be a better way to bring ladder line in and secure it. I passed through the same eyelet where each antenna, each half of the dipole is fed, and then wrapped it. I'm going to come back and solder up here and here, and that will solder it all together. And then I ran the paracord through, and I made a loop so it can float freely, because I don't know where this is going to want to sit exactly tension wise, and I want it to sit as natural as it wants to or can. So that's the theory. I'm going to hit these with a torch and solder them up, and then we'll get this puppy back in the air and on the air. That's all back together, soldered up and ready to go up. This is soldered and trimmed and compressed. I was going to just wrap this with electrical tape, but I think I'm going to get like a couple of sticks or something, maybe even something rectangular that I can wrap and just kind of support that bridge point so it doesn't get crushed, crossed, or pushed closer or further together, because that changes the impedance of the entire transmission line. So we're trying to hold that space. You know, a little fluctuation is no big deal, but we don't want huge changes, because that'll change how our line transmits radio frequency energy to our antenna, and that's an important factor. Well, how about that? And that'll give us a nice long structural feed coming into and out of the connection. Take the strain off it. Still nice and lightweight and stiff, and won't hurt anybody if it comes down and whacks me on the head, which it shouldn't, but there we go. Step 1, of course, electrically isolate. Step 2, we'll bridge up. I just wrapped structurally. Now I'll go back and wrap the center Then we're done. We can get this puppy back in the sky and get back on the air and get on with the other 10 million things. Done deal. We're skybound. Alrighty. She's up high in the sky again. Way high in the sky. Got the ladder line moved in. Hooked on the chimney on me on the way over, so had to climb up and free it. But we're all set. I'll hook up to the radio tonight and make sure the antenna is actually functional, but I expect no issues. Good planning and engineering and execution and all.